My name is Lisa Walton. I am a fashion designer. I've been doing fashion for well over 15 years now.
Oh, wow.
I had my business since 2012, but I changed it in during COVID
Sure.
because I said, I need to maybe go online or do something
Okay.
instead of because everybody had to stay inside. Everybody needed to, if you had to get anything, you had to get it from offline. So
Right.
that's when I started my business, my online boutique
Okay.
in 2021, and that is Unorthodox Clothing.
Okay. Unorthodox clothing.
Unorthodox Clothing.
How did
'Cause
you come up with that name?
we like to think outside the box.
Ah, I like it. I like
Nothing
it.
that we do is, the
Okay.
norm.
Ah, okay. Now, is this strictly women's clothing?
We're going into menswear this year.
Oh, I did see a man on there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
We're doing menswear this year. I am professionally trained. I have a Bachelor of Science in Fashion Design. So
Oh,
I make
wow.
patterns, I do graphics, I do everything. I do a
Really?
little bit of everything.
So if somebody, let's say if somebody wanted to create their own brand, to say, hey, I want a shirt like this, but it's going to be my name on it, and can you make this? And you own the design, or would you do something like that?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I would
Okay.
definitely design it for them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. Wow. So you bachelor's of science. I didn't know they had a bachelor's of science in.
You can get a master's in fashion.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they do it here, but I know like Central St. Martin's
Okay.
overseas and the bigger fashion
Right.
schools, yeah, they definitely do that.
What got you into fashion?
I started sketching at 6 years old. I've
6?
always loved clothes. My paternal grandfather was a tailor. My uncle was a tailor. My mother is a seamstress, yeah.
Wow.
So it's kind of
Okay.
in me
So everybody around you was seeing this all the time.
all the time. I used to see my mother make wedding dresses. I used to see her hand beading gowns and just doing all kinds of things.
You know, a lot of times children might see their parents do things, but they don't necessarily aspire to do that.
Right.
What do you think it was about them that inspired you to do it?
I think I kind of loved it. I think it was just always in me. I've always loved clothes. I've loved colors, just putting different textures and patterns together. It was always something that was kind of in me. I used to always love to draw. I was always drawing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
6 years old.
6 years old, I started sketching dresses and outfits and putting them together and everything. Yeah.
So in 2019, you started really building online. Seemed like you started switching gears. You had to pivot
Yeah.
the business. How long was the other business open?
2012, I think I started,
Oh,
and I was
okay.
just making like custom clothing for people, and word of mouth was just everything.
Now, were you doing men's clothing too, or just women's clothing?
Just
at the
women's
time?
clothing.
Okay.
Just women's clothing.
Okay.
I would dabble, maybe make like a man's shirt here and there, but I was definitely doing women's clothing.
Okay. Got it. Wow.
And I did not know how to sew before I went to school. So I did not know how to use a machine. I did not know how to make patterns. I did not learn that until I went to school.
Really? Okay.
Yes. And
Okay.
once I learned how to use that sewing machine, it was over.
It was over. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you pivoted, you kind of went with the times, 2019. Do you think that has enhanced your business, being online?
Yes, it has.
Okay.
It really has.
Okay.
This year I am doing but me like making everything myself and by hand, and I'm getting older now. I'm not as young as I used to be. So me doing everything by hand now is like looking towards, manufacturing and everything and kind of trying to expand as much as I possibly can, as a
Tell me,
brand.
tell me a little more about that, manufacturing.
I've been looking into it. I'm doing a fashion show this year in July to kind of put myself out there and kind of introduce myself to Philadelphia formally. And I have other designers that are going to be in the show as well, and just trying to kind of, get our names out there.
Right.
My main thing is to get into stores, get as far out there as I possibly can. Like, there's no well-known black female designers. There's no black female designers or Nordstrom's, Saks, Neiman's, the high-end stores. Everybody is urban or streetwear, and I'm not urban and I'm not streetwear. I want to be definitely high-end clothing. I want stores in Singapore and the U.S. and international everywhere. I want to be the Ralph Laurens and the Tom Fords and the Louis Vuittons. There's none of us out there, So I want to take my business as far as I possibly can as a black woman.
I see. That I've never
is
thought
the
of
goal.
that. I've not thought of that. There's no real black
There is no
Ralph Lauren types.
never, and a lot of his wealth is from licensing. He has perfumes, he has home, he has everything that you can possibly think of is Ralph Lauren.
Well, also,
paint.
it's us that's actually buying most of his things.
Exactly.
And they became even that more wealthy during the pandemic.
The wealthiest designer right now is, I think it's Armani.
Armani. Okay.
Top 5 is Armani, Ralph, I think Tom Ford, Prada, and I'm not sure who the other one is. I think maybe I forgot one, but they're top. They're 10 billion.
Right.
Armani is at 10 billion right now.
Is there, so in terms, so walk me through that in terms of manufacturing, right? When you say manufacturing, you want to mass produce.
Right.
And you want these going into stores.
So
So,
I'm just doing the designing. I don't have to, literally cut out the patterns.
right.
Cut out the
I
fabric.
got you. So let's take streetwear. What is the process that they typically go through? Do they have somebody else manufacture it?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
They definitely. You have to have an investor. Somebody
Okay.
has to believe in you and invest in you. Milano de Rouge, I think, is a famous brand from Philadelphia. She had Meat Mills pushing her brand.
Okay.
And I'm
Okay.
sure she invested in it herself as well.
Okay.
But
Okay.
just having that celebrity push for her brand helped it a lot.
So it seems like maybe just like they have in co-packing, with food, they would have manufacturing like that outfits for
Yeah,
clothing, right?
definitely, yeah.
So it's more the celebrity influence that would push the brand.
Right.
You got it.
Since Pharrell has taken over Louis Vuitton as a creative director, sales have gone through the roof. All of the celebrities are buying it. All of, locals, of course, are buying it. But that celebrity face on that brand has taken it to a whole other level.
How has it been with?
And I think if the clothes are good, people are gonna want it,
I got you.
regardless of whatever. When you think of Louis Vuitton, when you think of Gucci, you
Right.
think of quality.
Right.
You think of luxury.
Right.
People want that. And there are a lot of people like myself that are making luxury. You saw my dresses. You see my
They're
suits.
beautiful, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you. And it's out there.
Right.
But little old me, it's hard for people, the masses, to see me.
I have an idea. I just, you don't mind if I
No,
could
not
give
at
some
all.
input here. So it works the same way in Africa as I think it works here. And correct me if I'm wrong.
And there are so many amazing designers out there. I think it's Legos.
Oh yeah, Legos, South Africa
Yep.
as well.
It's a fashion empire over there.
What you do is, I would do this in reverse. I would focus on designing and bringing your product to Africa. I'm gonna tell you why. Here's the psychology in Africa. You're American. Oh, she's from America. They want to buy it. Don't ask me why it's that way, but part of it has to do with history and colonialism and all that. But when you're American in Africa and you do something, they want it automatically. It's just the same here as if a white man did it
Right.
and black people are like, oh yeah, we know it's good. It's the same mentality as a black person in Africa.
Okay.
So if you can push that in Africa, then you create that brand and you get that going, and then they'll start spilling over here. It'll ride the tail. You understand? It'll ride the trend.
Okay.
That's what I've seen. It's when you do things in Africa
As an
American.
American, but
Well, you're Jamaican. Same thing.
right.
Yeah.
As a foreigner.
Exactly. They will respect it. I've seen this too many times.
Okay.
I've seen it too many times. Now here, it's not that you can't do it here, but I think what you're doing is you're competing with the Ralph Laurens. You're competing with all of these other, you know what I mean? That's my own personal opinion. You know.
Where are you at financially now within your business, if you don't mind us asking? Are you able to make an income for yourself, or are you breaking
Not
even?
yet.
Not yet.
I'm just barely breaking even. The cost of the fabrics, just to make sometimes, and if you want good fabric, you're going to have to pay hundreds to thousands of dollars for it,
Where does the fabric come from, by the way?
I go to New York and I purchase fabric.
Where do they get the fabric from?
Probably India or China, depends on how beaded it is or how, sometimes China, sometimes maybe like the Philippines, sometimes Turkey,
Turkey.
all kinds of
Okay.
places. I think Turkey is a major place now to get fabric, in India. Embroidery and beading and those types of things, they come from India.
I see. I see. This past year, what, if I may ask, what did you bring in?
Probably maybe about, I would say between 35, 40,000,
35, you say you're breaking even? Okay,
just barely.
okay. I got you. I got you. Tell me a little bit about that. Like when you say I'm breaking even, what does that mean?
Between getting the fabrics and even because I charge maybe about if it's a custom outfit, I do some wholesale on my site.
Okay,
So
okay.
I have people buying in and I'm making sales on the site, maybe between $10,000 to $20,000 on the site.
Oh, okay.
You know, but if I'm doing a custom order, let's say I have let me show you a dress that I made. I made
Sure.
a dress for Rod Digger's wedding for my for one of her friends,
Okay.
and I paid almost $1,000 for the fabric.
Oh, wow. Just the
was eight-
fabric alone.
Just the fabric alone, it was $800. It was heavily beaded. Everybody had to wear silver to the wedding.
So, as an investor, do you invest in talented people or are you looking at just the numbers?
I'm looking at both. Let me see here. Oh, wow.
That's the fabric.
What did you sell that for?
I sold it to her for $2,500.
That's it? Mm-hmm. How many hours did it take you?
I can do it pretty fast, so it took me maybe about 2-3 days to put the dress together.
2-3 days? Okay, so was 8 times 3? What's 8 times 3?
24.
24? 24 hours? It took you to make that dress?
Probably
So 24 hours to make that dress, right?
Maybe more because you work longer than 8
Yeah.
hour days.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's call it 30 hours.
and I broke like 50 needles in the process.
Okay. So let's say, basically you charged at 2,500. It was 800 for the fabric.
Yeah.
So it was 1,700. Okay, divided by 30 hours. You ready? I'm gonna do the calculation again. You made about $56 an hour, is that right? Let me see,
And if I
1,700
went over
divided by 30. So you made $57 an hour. Okay. You happy with that?
No.
This is a beautiful dress.
This is let me show it to you right here.
Wow. It's beautiful. But how much would you have really, if you wasn't selling it to her?
10,000.
That's what I'm
Easily.
saying. Why didn't you charge 10,000?
Because of the hours that I put into it and the
No. I said, why didn't you charge
why didn't
10,000?
because she would complain or
Then they
cry
cannot
about the
afford your
price.
product.
But who do I sell
This
to,
is my price. If you can afford it, great. If not, I'll make you something that you can afford.
But guess what it is? I'm not Gucci. I'm not Dolce &
Who is she?
Gabbana.
Who is she?
She's
Who is she? Is she a name?
no.
Okay. So why are we doing her favors? She's not helping you.
Right.
You follow me? I can see if you were making
And
it
this is how
for.
it's been for years. This is how it's been for years. That's why I'm just
Right.
barely
Yeah.
breaking even.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would. This is stunning. A dress like this is $10,000.
Easily.
Right. That's worth your time. Yeah. So I think, mentoring, you know what I'm saying? Because what happens is this is like a hobby. And let me tell you something, people will pay for what they want. Listen to me. Everybody knows who is watching this thing. You will pay for what you want. I have bought shirts for $500, right? Because I wanted it. I loved the shirt. I wanted it. It was $500. I didn't care. People will pay for what they want. Something when I was in a mortgage business, I remember this guy said, how much are you worth? What do you mean, how much am I worth? I had no money. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, no. When you're charging people fees, I was charging them fees, and that was my commission. He said, how much are you worth? I said, well, I don't know. He said, Jesse, how much are you worth? How much is your time worth? I said, oh, well, my time is worth everything. He said, right. So why, when people challenge your fee, why do you come down 50%? I said, well, I want to do business. He's like, no. So I would charge 5% on a subprime loan it would be 5% on a subprime loan. It was a $500,000 loan. I was making, a lot of money, right? So the point is, I charge for my time. I charge for my worth. I'm not worth 1%. I'm not worth a half a point.
Right.
I'm going to try. And when people would say, oh, that's your price? I said, yeah, it is. Yep. So you just sign right here on a good faith estimate. And he taught me never, ever, ever apologize for what you charge.
She even cried about that price, but
But then we can't do business.
But then if you're not a known, that's the thing. If you're not a
You're not in the
known,
right space.
right.
You shouldn't be dealing business with her. You see what I'm saying? I mean, if you want to make her doing a favor with a friend and all, right, but based on where you want to go, right, you want to be in every single store, right? These major stores, and you want to compete with people like Ralph Lauren, she's not going to help you get there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I can wear the dress and people will laugh at me and maybe that'll get some publicity for you. I'm just kidding. Right? I'm just saying, why are you saying yes? I'm not going to wear a dress. That was a joke. I know. But I know.
Entrepreneurs cheapen their prices
Right.
for the money because they need it right now.
And particularly in the minority community, this is what we do, right?
And we feel like we have to.
And you're the most talented in the world. People mock. They literally duplicate everything we do. And they'll take this dress, they'll take your design. This is your design, right? They'll take that design and charge $20,000 for this thing. And you're like, oh my God, she shouldn't have done that. Why not? They just did what you wouldn't do. That you would not do. See what I'm saying? You got to get in the right spot. So, okay, great. Now you have a model. If you're going to do a favor, like it has to pay you back. Okay, great. Listen, I made this dress for you for $2,500. I'm just letting you know this retails for $15,000. I'm doing you a big favor. However, you are going to help me as well. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to put you on my Instagram. When I need you to show up to a party, I need you to wear this thing. I need you to show up. Can you do that? Let's sign a contract and we're going to do that.
Right.
Now you're earning this dress. Because then she's not arguing about price. You see what I'm saying? She's not going to argue about, oh my gosh, no, like, wow, I have a $15,000 dress. She charged me $2,500. You know what? Wow.
Yeah.
Or when you're done with the dress, how about this? I'll rent the dress to you. Yeah? I'll rent it for you for $1,000. Now you have the dress back and you rent it to somebody else with the similar size and shape.
Right.
I just thought of that. You can rent the dress. People do that all the
Yeah.
time.
I used to rent the dresses.
Yeah, you know,
Like all of the dresses that you saw in the show, I
Yeah.
used to rent them out for photo shoots,
There you go.
magazine shoots, stuff
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can rent out individuals. People like, they want to, they're going on a hot date, and, when they come out with me, they need a nice dress.
Right.
Right? So, right? So they want to make sure that they, but they don't want to buy a dress. They don't want to break the bank.
Right.
But they'll spend $200 for that night. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, you got to get in the right spaces because you're wasting your time. And what you don't want to do, and what I see a lot of people do, they give up on the dream. They're so talented.
Right.
They give up on the dream because, like, you know what? This is not
And
working.
It's been several times. that I've come
Yeah,
to
and then
that
you're in the
point
back
where
at
I'm like,
work.
you know
And right. What did you do prior to this, prior to fashion?
Nothing. Fashion has always been my.
Fashion,
I was
okay.
a teacher. I used to
Okay,
teach.
so now I go back. I just go back to teaching. You know what? This is foolishness.
'Cause it's steady
I had a wild idea. Why do it? No, it's just you need the proper guidance to get there. You know?
What happens when you reestablish your value and you double your price? Like, even if you don't get any customers at first, like, how do you change as an entrepreneur?
One, people will respect you more, right? Two is when you learn to just charge what you're worth, right? It builds your confidence.
Right.
There will be people who will say no. There'll be more people like, are you smoking something? Like, what's wrong with you? No. But this is what you do. And this is not lying. The retail price for this is $15,000. This is what I charge. You have people that actually paid for that? The retail price for this is $15,000. This is what this sells for. Who has bought that dress from you for $15,000? That doesn't matter. My clients are privileged. They're private. I can't tell you all my business, which is true. You may not have sold one dress. Okay?
Right.
They don't need to know that. But, you know, listen, this is what retails for $15,000. I'll cut your break. I'll give you for $11,000. If you can't afford it, that's fine. But you, like, once you charge what you're worth, I'm telling you, once that first person actually gives you that check, you're like, wow, I can't believe that I've been accepting $2,500 for the same amount of work.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't don't get pegged, because then this is what happens. You become known as let me tell you something, girl. She will make you a $15,000 dress for $2,500. What? That's what you become known for. I have a friend in the UK, right? And they charge, what, to do hair, I don't know, let's say it's $50.
Right.
And that's what she charges. Well, we got 2 girls and all this thing. And then she came down to, like, I don't know, 30. I said, why would you do that? 30 pounds. I said, why would you do that? Well, because, I said, right, but how long did it take you? By the time we calculated everything, she's like, I only made like 7 pounds per hour. I said, uh-huh. You see? But then the lady called her again, expected the same price. She said, I was just doing that just to get to know her. And, you know, you see what I mean? Like, why would you do that? You know? So once you start charging what you're worth, people start to look at you differently. People start to refer you to those people who would actually use you. Like, you know, I couldn't afford her, but, you know, you don't know who people know. You don't. Oh, this person knows Patti LaBelle. Really? Oh, yeah, you know? You know what I'm saying? So, and then find a mentor. Find a mentor who's in this space, who has been doing this for a long time. They will be the ones who will be promoting you. They'll be the ones talking about you. They will be the ones who would connect you with people who work for the government, those who can afford it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You're a fashion designer, right? So tell me about that. Tell me, you're a fashion designer, what?
I make absolutely wonderful clothing.
Right, but what type of fashion designer are you? How good are you?
I'm very good.
How good?
Very, very good.
Okay, but so let's say it again. What type of fashion designer are you?
I'm a very good fashion designer.
Oh, that's not good enough.
I'm a great fashion designer.
That's still not good enough. I'm not paying
I'm the best.
15. I am the world's best authentic fashion designer that nobody has ever seen. You show up like that and you tell yourself that. They're waiting for you. You got to know that. Right. You're not just good. You're amazing. I would love to see a dress. I would just love to see a dress like that on my wife. You know what I'm saying?
But how do you get the investors to you know, put money into your product? Because me spending my own money, you know, I'm going to New York every week or maybe twice.
This is what you got to do. Show me that you can charge $15,000 for a dress, right? Show me you can do it, and then you find investors.